Hello, and welcome back to the Corhazi Outlook, a Grand Archive TCG podcast centered around tournament results and competitive metagame analysis.
We are here to provide a glimpse into what's being played at larger tournaments and help you prepare for your next big event. This is episode 22. I am Ken, also known as Chromatic. With me, as always, is Aubrey, also known as Jim the Eternal.
How's it going?
And today, it's time for the big one, Ascent Akihabara.
Man, big one is no joke.
This is the largest tournament to date.
Yeah, it's so huge. There's been so much buzz about it.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people have been like, this is, the event, kind of the destination event for Grand Archive.
Kind of really the world stage for Grand Archive.
Absolutely. It's almost bigger than Worlds,
Bigger
honestly.
than, yeah.
I mean, not even talking about attendance, but just in terms of the amount of hype, the amount of energy that people have been putting into thinking about it.
I know a lot of people were looking forward to this event.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people brought a lot of different ideas to this event, and it's really interesting to see how everything kind of came together at the end.
For sure.
So you'll see a lot of stuff that you're used to seeing. You'll see a few things that you may not have expected, but overall, it'll be a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Before we do that, hey, Jim.
Hello.
It's been so long since we last talked.
Yeah, right?
What's been going on in your world?
I have been so PTM pilled that I haven't really thought about attending events or putting together anything else.
Oh, dear.
Like, I'm so ready for Phantom Monarchs to come out so that I can play with Spectral Haunting.
Oh, yeah. The reanimation special.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I'm going to haunt some idiots. It's going to be so good.
It sounds like PTM hype has definitely been spreading around.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I know that in between, I've been doing a little bit of moonlighting as Windry. Thanks again to Hyoka for enabling me to push myself back into that camp, and it's been a lot of fun. I can definitely confirm that it's great when you're fighting level 3 opponents, and it's terrifying when you're playing against aggro. But in between, right. I've definitely been cooking a couple PTM brews, and some of them are definitely more thoroughly cooked than others.
For sure, yeah. I think the power level is maybe there.
Yeah.
But the deck is definitely not ready for prime time.
Yeah.
I fully there's like the problem is you see the problem is this deck is the thing that it's good at is stopped by the same thing that so many other decks are already prepared to stop.
Yes, it's very true.
Like, if you are relying on access to the graveyard in order to do whatever it is the thing is that you're doing, every single competitive deck out there has been like, oh, graveyard, I know what to do about that.
So I am looking forward to a few solid weeks of being able to play the fun list that I cooked up and then firmly saying, all right, that's enough of that. That was fun, and putting a Thurible in my deck and moving on.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
God, I can't wait to bring this to an actual locals and just get stomped by Tristan.
Oh, absolutely. So
absolutely the fun police.
We'll see if our predictions hold. I would love to see a bunch of graveyard decks and also anti-graveyard decks just floating around in equal capacity. But I'm sure it'll be interesting to see how that turns out.
Yeah, there's a lot of really cool possibilities out there, and also a lot of like fun police possibilities out there.
Yeah,
and we're definitely going to need to see what happens.
I think you definitely need a little bit of both to really have a healthy environment. So we'll see who does their part and who gets rocked as a result. But before we move on to that world, we have one more event to talk about, and that is Ascent Akihabara.
Yeah. Let's move on to the main event.
Yeah.
So this is the point of the podcast.
Of
really.
course.
681 entrance into this event.
That is insane.
Right?
I remember looking at the registration leading up to the main event, and at one point I saw 699 people were entered, and I said, nice. Very nice. It went down a little bit. I'm not really sure what happened to the stray 18 or so. Maybe some deck list issues, or maybe some people who couldn't show due to flight-related issues, but regardless, 681 is
It's actually
incredible.
interesting comparing that to the numbers that they were originally forecasting.
Yeah.
Because event attendance was originally capped at 600.
Yes.
And then they opened it up, and immediately it filled again.
Yes.
And was at 800 tickets sold.
Yeah.
So to come to this event and see 681 entrants, that's a lot of people who didn't show up.
Yeah, I wonder if there were people who just got their tickets just in the hopes that they could make it work, and then maybe, they couldn't get a flight in time or something like that, and so they couldn't make it. But regardless, huge turnout.
Yeah,
massive
absolutely.
turnout.
Okay, actually, now that you say that, it wouldn't surprise me at all to know that some number of locals were like, I am going to go there, pick up stuff, and not play.
Oh, true. That is possible.
That definitely makes some sense to me.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely a lot of goodies to pick up there.
But yeah, let's talk about what actually was in the event.
Yeah.
So not only 681 entrants, but also we had some really interesting numbers, I think, for the attendance. So out of our 681 entrants, we had That's I think, close to expected element breakdown, although the numbers are a little bit off from maybe what we were expecting, right? 327 fire decks, 48% of the field.
Yeah.
118 water decks. So this is actually really high compared to previous events.
That is a lot of water compared to what we're seeing, like relative.
So yeah, 17% of the field, which is high compared to Auckland, although about the same as Niagara. So for day one numbers, I think this holds out.
Yeah.
232 wind decks, 34% of the field.
Yeah, that sounds
and
right.
4 norm decks.
Boy.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I think they were all slimes.
I want to believe they're all slimes.
Yes, yeah, they were 100% all slimes.
Can confirm.
There were 8 slimes decks, 4 norm and 4 fire.
Oh, yeah, okay. That seems like a fair breakdown.
So there you go.
They're still out there.
So yeah, so as we've already mentioned, this is expected numbers.
Yeah.
Right? So this is about what the meta has looked like for Niagara, about what the meta has looked like for Auckland.
Yep.
And about what people expected going in, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think this is pretty much a pretty solid representation of what the competitive environment has looked like especially when you cross compare it to the past few ascents. This is kind of par for the course.
Right. And I think moving from kind of what we had, the expectations of the decks that were going to show up from the previous events, what we've done is kind of crystallize the metagame a little bit here.
Yeah.
And that's not supposed to be a crux pun, but
Right.
we can work with that.
It was destined to a certain extent.
God damn it.
I got there.
Thank you for backing me up on this one. So Crux, obviously the most popular deck in the field.
Yep.
And even if you break it down to the various varieties of Crux decks, the varieties of Crux decks are the most popular decks in the field.
Yeah.
So 30% of the field, Crux.
Yep.
Just overall. But also 104 of those decks are the typical Fire Crux Knight Lorraine decks, which is the single most popular deck archetype.
It's kind of wild seeing that this is becoming the most popular over time. It brings a tear to my eye, really.
The next most popular single deck archetype is Crux Merlin. Fire Crux Merlin.
Very unsurprising.
So together, the top 2 single most popular deck archetypes are both Crux.
Yep.
And this is sort of in the overall Crux umbrella.
Yeah.
This Crux umbrella also includes 12 Wind Crux decks.
Yep.
Not a whole lot.
A little bit.
4 Lorraine Spirit Ruler decks.
Yeah.
All of which made day 2.
A little bit of vow action in there. Yeah.
And also some number of other Crux decks, which may or may not end up being talked about over the course of the rest of the day.
But shout out to the Water Merlin.
The Water Merlin.
You know who you are.
You know who you are, especially because he makes day 2 every single time.
He does. He's very consistent.
I think I looked up his numbers. He's attended 5 ascents.
Yep.
And has day 2'd 4 of them.
Fantastic.
Right?
It's great results.
The one he didn't make day 2 of, he was 5-4.
Okay.
So there you go.
Still pretty good.
Yeah. Shout outs to Kendall, you know who you are.
Kendall, you know who you are. You know exactly who you are.
But yeah, after we go past those decks, we have a long tail. This is the phrase that I love using for all of this entire meta of decks that people are in fact seeing some success with.
Yeah.
Right? So a
so.
whole bunch of decks that are doing well, even if they are not, the single most popular deck in the field.
Absolutely.
We ended up with 9% of the field on Stereo.
Yeah.
7% of the field on Shadow Strike. 6% of the field on various flavors of CL.
This one is honestly pretty interesting because there's a lot of diversity in this category.
Yeah, and this breaks down a lot because if you look at like water CL versus fire CL, like entirely different decks.
Completely
it's kind of hard to put them into the same category.
And even amidst Fire CL, there's a few different versions, which is really cool.
Next below that is the most popular aggro deck, Suzaku.
Suzaku, we love that.
And this is the cutoff for anything that is above 5% of the field.
Yes. And there's a ton of more decks to talk about.
So many more decks. There's a ton of decks. We have to go down to 15, I think, different unique archetypes before we hit single-digit decks.
Yeah.
And those are all decks that people have brought above 2% of the field. Like double digits of people brought that deck down to Fractals and Exia.
Yeah.
And then you have to go below that to Slimes to hit single digits.
And it's not even like the single-digit decks are particularly bad off in any way.
No, right? Slimes is probably the Slimes in the top in the top cut.
Yeah, Slime's doing fine too. So a lot to talk about here.
Absolutely. But the important part is we're going to see like really good stats about a lot of these decks just because of the numbers of the decks that were there.
Yeah.
And I think kind of the most important is the decks that had more of the representation. But it is similar levels of representation, even down to like 8th or 10th place. Like I think you have to go down to 13 decks before you have below 20 people bringing that one deck. So while the top end of this meta has, as I said, crystallized, we kind of have a lot of people focusing in on these Fire Crux decks. There is still a lot of room for people to succeed with other decks.
Absolutely.
And everybody wants to bring something different.
Yeah. Everyone can sort of express themselves in their own way, and it's all very viable.
Yeah, you'll love to see it.
It's fantastic.
Of course, we're not going to be talking about all of this because otherwise we would be spending all day here.
Yeah, there are literally, again, 600 plus people. Right? So there's a lot to talk about.
So let's jump into day 2.
Yes.
And then we can talk about the decks that kind of showed off.
Yeah.
Right? Some pretty good performances.
Some very cool ones here.
Of course, the numbers here break out very similarly to the day 1 numbers.
Right.
We end up having Crux Knight Lorraine as the most popular deck. We end up having Fire Merlin as the second most popular deck. And Seiryu is actually the next one down. So this entirely matches the numbers that we're seeing.
I feel like these stats wouldn't surprise anyone.
Right?
It's like clear from the get-go that these are the most popular.
Like 25 Crux Knight decks, 21 Merlin decks. This is like the typical Fire decks. 10 Seiryu decks. And then things start getting a little weird. So the 4th most popular deck in day 2 was Diana Aetherwing.
Yes, it is. This is a deck that kind of was off to a really rocky start, and I think this has now become probably the standout water deck of this format.
Yeah, not only that, it's cool to finally see a evolved form of this deck. Since all of the versions of this deck that made it to day 2 include Carp Song Coda. So have that sort of separate buyout, that extra avenue for attack.
That split damage. It's really nice.
So the deck is definitely performing with these new values. 26% conversion rate on Aetherwing.
Ooh.
So that is high. Like people did really well. The typical conversion rate, 20%.
Oh yeah, 20%.
20% of the people that attended this event made it to day 2.
Okay.
So a 26% conversion rate for Aetherwing is good. That's impressive.
It's very good. It's very good.
It's not as good as the next deck.
This one was wild.
Oblation CL.
Oblation CL coming back.
Yeah, this is Fire Oblation CL. And this deck had a 47% conversion rate.
That is astronomical. We had a lot of standout players on this deck.
Oh, yeah. 7 out of the 15 Oblation players made it to day 2. That is good numbers.
Very good
and
numbers.
A really good win rate, too. I think there was close to 55% win rate for the Oblation deck.
Not bad.
So definitely did very well compared to the rest of the field. We also have 7 Genbu decks.
Yeah, Genbu's quite good. Quite good still.
So this is a lot of water in this top, popular... the popular decks that were here.
Some very established archetypes.
And we should talk about the element breakdown, because the element breakdown kind of shattered previous expectations. So speaking of the element breakdown, we have similar numbers, actually. So there is a little bit more fire than in day 1. 55% instead of 48%.
To be expected.
78 decks. About the same amount of water, which is kind of unusual. We saw in Auckland, there was 1 water deck in the top 32.
Just the token water deck.
Basically. The token water deck. Niagara, it was a little bit more water representation, but even then, there was a dip from day 1 to day 2. And here, from day 1 to day 2, it moves from 17% of the field to 16% of the field. So water kind of holding strong. I guess this means that water players have figured out what the meta looks like and are sort of more prepared to deal with all of the fire decks and all of the wind decks.
It seems that way, I mean, I think the folks who play water have sort of settled on decks that work really well, and I think they sort of mastered how to pilot them.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the other kind of interesting thing is this is the first time that the wind presentation has dropped off.
Surprising.
So we go from 232 decks, 34% of the field on wind, to 40 decks, 28% of the field. And this is, the first event in this meta where wind did not steal some of fire's representation. So does that mean that Crux is the best deck in the field? A lot of people seem to think so.
I mean, it's definitely a very powerful deck. A lot of strong plays it can make, a lot of value it can generate. It'd be hard to argue it, honestly. But that's not to say it's the only deck.
Oh, no, absolutely not. There are so many decks.
There are so many decks that can actually do it.
But I do think that is really interesting. Also, the 1 token norm deck, we did it.
Oh yeah, we did it. We still got there.
Yeah, Slimes made it to day 2.
Slimes endure. You can't keep a good slime player down.
Right? All right, so back to the deck list. We have, 5% of day 2, 7 decks apiece for Aetherwing, Oblation, and Genbu. We ended up with 6 Wind Astra decks.
Yeah, Wind Astra is going very strong. A lot of strong players who love this deck showed up.
Yeah, we have a bunch of kind of it's interesting because I think the only real fire deck in the field, or the most important fire deck in the field, is Crux.
Yep.
But if you look at the percentage of decks for each of the different wind element decks, it's pretty even for a lot of them.
Very even.
The Seiryu is the most popular.
Yeah.
But and the most popular in day 2.
Yeah.
But it's still not overly represented.
Yeah,
the same way
it's
that
not
Crux
more
is.
popular by a huge margin.
Exactly.
Compared to Crux.
Exactly. So as far as wind decks goes, all of these different wind decks are doing fairly well.
Yeah.
And showing up in day 2 in kind of expected amounts.
Absolutely.
So 6 Wind Astra decks, 6 Wake Up decks also.
Yeah, Wake Up is definitely still the archetype that can take you by surprise.
I really love this combo deck. It's so there's something that just really gets me about being able to swing in for 14 or 21 with a single unit. It's so great.
It's unreal. You have to respect it. You have to be prepared for it.
Absolutely. And then continuing in kind of the wind trend, Shadow Strike 5 decks in day 2, and also 5 Suzaku decks in day 2. So this is the most popular or most well-performing aggro deck in the field.
Still got in there.
Still with not that great a performance, right?
It's definitely falling off, but you can still get there with the deck, thankfully.
So the conversion rate for Suzaku is down. This is 14% as opposed to 20% for the field. And the win percent for Suzaku is down also, 47% across the event.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely matches our expectations, which is like aggro decks are very, very powerful at the beginning of the season. At the end of the season, they kind of fall to the wayside in favor of more of the longer game strategies that have had more time to cook. So.
Yeah. It really shows that people have kind of figured out how aggro works.
Yeah.
And are in a better position to defend against it.
Definitely.
We had 4 Fire Umbra Guardian decks.
Yeah.
4 Wind Umbra Ranger decks.
This was not on my bingo card.
Right?
For decks to appear.
This is kind of the breakout deck from this event.
Yeah.
Too. This is, we had two events in a row won by Razor Gale.
Yeah.
And so of course we have a bunch of different wind decks doing cool wind things.
Yeah.
But this is the one that's new. This is kind of the deck that I think is defining this event.
Yeah. This is kind of a new take on sort of a classic build. I know I forget who exactly coined this term, but I remember a player known as Happy Tilts turned me on to the idea of the Park Ranger Diana. And this very much takes a few pages out of that book. But we'll talk about that a little bit more when we explore the cool decks that made it to day 2.
Yeah, this deck is nutty, by the way.
Yeah.
So 5 people brought this deck to the event.
Yeah.
4 of them day 2'd with it.
Yeah, I believe they're all on the same team.
It wouldn't surprise me at
Yeah.
all. All of the decks are within a couple of cards of each other.
Yeah.
So almost assuredly, everybody on this deck spoke to everybody else that was on this deck.
Absolutely.
80% conversion rate, which, I mean, when you're talking about numbers, like single-digit numbers, it's a little hard to throw percents around.
Yeah.
But 65% win rate for this deck.
This is crazy.
People on this deck won a lot more than they lost.
It's kind of I'll talk about it in more detail, but I think it's really like a good example of like understanding the field that you're going to play into and using using that knowledge to your advantage when choosing and building your deck.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do want to call this out as kind of the same effect as Boston, right? Chess Club brought Horse and Taxes to Boston.
Yes.
And completely cleaned up. Not only because the deck was strong and well-positioned in the meta, but also because nobody knew how to play against it.
Yeah. Exactly.
And that is a huge deal.
Yeah, the rogue factor is powerful. Do not underestimate it.
Yeah, so if you, in your practice, can find a deck that preys on the most popular deck and is a deck that nobody's seen before, that's going to get you a lot of mileage.
It's true. It's true. This is to encourage all of you into the new season. But please cook. We would love to see your special brew take things by surprise.
Yeah, I mean, this even calls back to the lumbering steed that was around in, what was it, Seattle?
In I believe it was Melbourne.
Oh, could have been.
Yeah. The lumbering steed horse unique allies deck.
Yeah, the horse unique allies deck. And it's just, people run into this and they're like, lumbering steed, what does that even do?
Like,
how do I play against this?
How do I deal with this?
You know, and the guy kind of cleaned up in day 1.
Yeah.
And then by day 2, people maybe had his number a little bit.
Yeah, people looked at his list and were like, okay, now we know how to deal with
this.
So,
yeah. But just an incredible performance for day 1 at least.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now we're into the 4s, right? We got 4 Wind Number Ranger. We got 4 Fractals.
Yep.
So this is actually like a really good performance for Fractals.
Yeah.
30% conversion rate for Fractals.
Fantastic.
Right?
Honestly. You love to see it.
It's impressive. I'm a little surprised to see this because I thought people were going to be ready for spell damage.
Yeah. Like Fractals it's just right on the periphery. So I think the point where people tend to forget about it because there's so much other stuff floating around. Like I think a lot of people just sort of figure it's very rare that they'll run into it, and so that when they run into it, it's just they're not prepared for it.
I fully believe that.
Yeah.
The really interesting thing about these numbers is very high conversion rate for a deck with a decent amount of representation in the field. Exactly even win rate, like 51%. So overall, Fractals did not do better, really, than most other decks in the field.
Yeah.
But very good performance for the decks that for the deck in general. Like somehow that turned into a really, really good conversion rate for them.
Not bad at all.
I wonder if that just means it's like the win rate is really focused. Like we had a bunch of people that, XO'd and then a bunch of people that OX'd.
Yeah,
and it's
perhaps.
like, that's 50%.
Yeah. Good job, half that won their games.
Right? All right, and then next on the list is Valorane.
Yeah.
So we really do need to talk about the Spirit Ruler deck.
This is a wild one.
Because there were 4 people at this event that brought Spirit Ruler.
Yeah. One notably, the originator of their own brand of Vow Spirit Ruler.
Which is fascinating.
Which is really crazy.
So 4 people brought Spirit Ruler, and all 4 of them made day 2.
That's wild.
That is a 100% conversion rate.
That is actually quite good.
And this is not just like one person brought some weird off deck and then barely made day 2 and then got no wins on day 2. Like there were Spirit Rulers in the top 8.
Yeah.
So this is real.
Not bad at all.
I think a lot of the like Crux Knight is a very good deck, right?
Yeah, Crux Knight's very powerful. Like it's weird to see Spirit Ruler falling off in favor of Crux Knight, but this one really brings it back.
Yeah, that's the point that I want to make, is I think overall Spirit Ruler's performance in this event was better than Crux Knight's performance in this event. A little hard to say that because you have exactly 4 data points for Valorane.
Right.
But
the numbers, the math be mathin'.
Yeah. So I do want to call out this as a different thing from just decks that are tagged as Vow on Fractal of Insight.
Right.
Because there are a decent number of Crux Knights decks that brought Sword Saint's Vow.
Yeah, it's just in there.
Right. But most of them just tack on Sword Saint's Vow with very little other changes to their deck. I think every deck pretty much is running Tempered Steel anyway.
Yeah.
So easy to take advantage of that. But most of these decks don't include Dispersion with it. They don't include Honed by Fire even most of the time.
True.
So it's just a Crux Knight deck with Vow in it, as opposed to a sort of different strategy that's a little bit more focused around Vow. All of these decks that I am thinking of that I'm kind of qualifying as Valorane here are Spirit Ruler decks with Sword Saint's Vow and Spirit Blade Dispersion.
Yeah.
Because that is a really, really key factor in the performance of this card.
Yep.
So at this point, we now have, the day 2 long tail.
Yeah.
Quite a number of.
So many.
Right? There's so many more decks, right? Quite a few 3-ofs, quite a few 2-ofs, quite a few 1-ofs. We'll go through some of these. Razor Gale, day 2. Terrible performance for Razor Gale this event.
I think everyone saw the writing on the wall of the last 2 Ascents and were like, no, this won't be me.
Yeah, absolutely not. In fact, the top performing Razor Gale was, drumroll please, not even on this list.
Ooh, I know the answer to this question.
83rd place.
Yep. Megalobana.
And, Megalobana is a cool dude.
He's a cool dude.
We've mentioned that name several times on this podcast.
He's a great dude. He definitely has some great tournament chops. But man, the Razor Gale was a rough pick.
No, people were ready.
Yeah.
He won 2 events in a row, and everybody was like, not on mine.
No.
There are some Fire Aggros on this list. We saw some Warrior Aggro. We saw some Cleric Aggro. We saw some Xander Aggro.
Oh, yeah.
That one Byakko deck made it to day 2.
Oh, my God.
Are we going to talk about that? Please tell me we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about it.
But there was, just like a whole host of, Hyoka.
Hyoka, of course. Of course he made it.
The only Arcane Rai, of course.
The one Arcane Rai player. I've definitely never touched Arcane Rai in my life.
and everything that you'd expect to have a chance to perform did perform.
Yeah. It's really cool to see.
So there is some Exia. There is some Fire Luxem.
Yeah.
There is some slime. There was a slime deck. Yeah. There is some water allies here. There's A suited deck.
A suited deck.
There's a Water Astra deck?
That's wild.
I don't know, man. A lot of things performed well.
Yeah.
I think some of this is outliers. Some of this is like, okay, well, you sift a big enough bucket and you're going to get some weird stuff coming up to the top.
Of course.
But overall, anything that could have done well did.
Yeah. Like, so many diverse decks day 2 of this event.
Absolutely.
It's just beautiful to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
And of course, one Watermelon, as we mentioned.
Yes.
Very important.
You can't keep a good Watermelon player down.
So I think we should take a moment to talk about kind of the archetype breakdown.
Yes.
Because this is very similar to the archetype breakdown that we've been seing in the previous events.
It really is. As is usual, we have a big pile of midrange.
Yeah, huge pile of midrange.
Yep.
We have 5 Shadow Strike decks.
Yep.
We have a huge chunk of Lorraine and Merlin. All of that crux is in our mid-range pile.
Many crux decks.
We do have kind of the Byakko deck. I feel like is very mid-rangey.
Yeah.
So one Guoja deck here in mid-range. Mm-hmm. Of course, Aetherwing.
Yep.
And the Slimes deck, and a bunch of Fire Guardian stuff.
Yeah. A bunch of good CL decks doing CL stuff, which is really nice.
It's interesting because there's so many different kinds of ways to play Guardian, but all of them end up in this same similar like turbo up to 3 and then do something impressive.
Yeah, well, like the Neos decks and like the CL decks. Mm-hmm. When that Nico level 3 comes out, just watch out.
That's going to be great.
It's going to be terrifying.
Right? So yeah, giant pile of mid-range. The next highest tier is combo rather.
Yep.
And that's primarily on the back of Wake Up being a very good deck.
Wake Up obviously very good.
Razor Gale still like a decent deck despite people being prepared for it. Mm-hmm. And then a giant chunk of the Guoja decks or Seryu, which is very combo-y.
Yeah. Very combo with the mid-range backbone. Mm-hmm. So
And even like a few of the outlier decks like Jin, honestly.
Jin, the spiciest combo deck.
Yeah, the spicy, absolutely.
Yeah. What if Rai never had anger management?
We have the Fractals decks here, so a decent chunk of stuff in combo, and then but even combo compared to the mid range is like a lot lower, and then all of the other archetypes are just very flattened out.
Yeah, absolutely.
There is a little bit of aggro in kind of Philo and Suzaku and a couple of other outliers. There is a little bit of kind of ally focused tempo stuff. I'm also including some of the Aetherwing decks here, just because of the way that they are approaching this thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the occasional other. Most tempo is a lot about the ally focus, a lot about playing to the board and being low to the ground, kind of like an aggressive deck, but also paying attention to kind of that board state.
Yeah, jockeying the board state.
Right, exactly. So we see like Wind Luxem here, a couple of other decks. And a little bit of control. And control is, always the dark horse in Grand Archive.
It is.
Like, what even is control?
What is control?
So we have Fire Luxem, we have Genbu, and we have Wind Astra.
Yeah.
Also Water Astra.
The closest to control we're going to get.
Yeah. And these are the decks that do actually want to sit back a little bit and react to their opponent.
Yeah.
As opposed to immediately forcing their game plan in the moment it's possible.
They are playing the longer game, regardless.
And all of those kind of in lower numbers compared to the most popular strategy.
Yeah.
Which is go to 3 and then start chucking hammers at your opponent.
Of course. Whole lot of mid-range. We love mid-range in this game, of course.
Yeah, so even with the metagame kind of funneling more towards these few decks that have been seeing kind of better performance, the overall impression of the meta, I think, is still very similar.
I'd say so, yeah. So there were a number of decks that we thought were very neat. However, because of the size of this event, if we talked about all of them, we would be here literally forever.
Yeah.
So we're going to kind of condense it. We may not talk about everything. We're going to sort of restrain it to the top 100 just because I believe that was the cutoff for the special Hoshikawa-Sara Tariff Ring. So if we don't talked about you, we're sure you were cool. It's just we're strapped for time. But we'll kick things off at 53rd place with Matari 211's Serene Water Astra Arasana. This is not the Astra we're used to seeing.
It's really not.
It's not, but there are some good things here. Aquavite is a fantastic opener, a nice little way of cycling, and then maybe even being able to go plus. Then you have a few more control tools with Dredging Streams, with Acquiescing Rejection, with Flash Freeze. some stuff like that, and then sort of your classic Astro package, which includes Prima Materia, which is not one we normally see nowadays. A little too slow, I would say, maybe for the current format, but pretty cool to see.
It worked out well for him. There's not really a lot of other Water Astro to compare it against.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say if this is like a breakout performance, or if this is like a one-off, or if, whether or not this is a good or bad performance for the deck in the meta.
Yeah. I will say this is a very bold deck building choice, because it's running Serene Water with a whole lot of water cards.
Yeah.
Like, I count 17 water cards in the base deck, and even some more on the board. Speaking of the board, it's really spicy because it's sideboarding an Imperial Seal for Ravaging Tempest, which is a tool you do need against a lot of Shenju in this format, which is crazy to me. But regardless,
I can't. Okay, no. I love that somebody went. Wind has all of this utility. I don't care about that.
I don't want this utility.
I want to go full defense, but also I want Ravaging.
But I do want this utility.
I want that specific utility.
This one utility. Mataria is obviously made of stronger stuff than I am, because piloting Water Astro is no mean feat.
No, this takes a lot of courage and a lot of mental fortitude.
So you're a brave man, Matari. You've earned my deepest respect. In 49th place, we have Korax on Jin.
Yeah? Why the question marks?
I don't know.
Are we confused?
I am confused. I know Korax to be a man of many decks, but Jin is not one I expected him to be a man of.
That's true. Korax is kind of well known for running, like, Nico.
Yeah, I expect this, like, the Sylvie Nico, or, like, something, like, firmly in the Water Mill strategy.
Yeah.
I did not expect just, like, Angry Man.
It just really shows the range that the player has.
I know, yeah. He was on Win Luxem for a hot minute, so I think clearly this is just another showcase of just his range and being able to do stuff like this.
I wonder if part of it is like he's finally not of the sense that the decks that are his usual wheelhouse are the best decks in the field.
Perhaps so. Maybe he's trying a few different things out. I think notably, I know that he was on Win Luxem, and that was a very SoCal-centric deck in terms of origin. And he's also playing a Jinless, which I think also was a deck that Southern California players run for a while.
Yeah, this sounds like he's been talking a lot with, Emp, with Liftrazo.
Yeah.
Kind of that testing group.
Yeah, so maybe there's a little bit of like knowledge transfer there. I've seen the 2 turbocharges as a sign that could be the case, so... but it's really cool to see. I mean, honestly, I would not be opposed to seeing Korax play this deck for a little longer, because I would love to see what he can do with it.
Yeah, Jin is always fun to see the actual gameplay.
Yeah,
I would love watching Jin's matches.
Yeah, it's such a fascinating deck that plays so differently, and I would love to see what comes about. So, very cool. In 35th place, we have Zeus Z3 US on Fire Diao Chan. Good old Fire Aggro Diao Chan.
I love me a good Cleric Aggro.
Yeah. This is the Ignis Deus variant of Fire Aggro Diao Chan, so it's kind of hoping to turbo to level 1 and then get the Fire Bloom Flourishes out to recoup.
Yeah, I love it.
And if you're used to Fire Diao, you probably know what to expect here, but notably, something that I haven't seen in Zeus's list at least is Smoke Out, which is great for cats. Because
Smokeout actually feels like it hits a lot of things. I'm sure we're going to be seeing more of it going into the PTM meta.
Oh, absolutely.
Because there's a whole bunch of stealth allies.
I'm assuming that that stealth is only going to get more popular, and just distortions and Cheshire Cat in general is going to be more popular. So I think this deck will probably still have a place for a while too. So and I love this deck because I did day 2 with it in Seattle, so I have a soft spot for it. So it's really cool to see Zeus holding it down. I think this is a deck I'd look to for inspiration.
So are we running the Smokeouts main?
2 Smokeouts in the main.
Nice.
Just a little bit of utility in the sideboard. Otherwise, this is just full frontal assault, which is great.
That's what you got to do. If you're going to be aggressive, you got to be aggressive.
Exactly. Hold nothing back. So very, very cool. In 34th place, we have Hyoka, the man, the myth, the legend himself, on Wind Arcane Rai.
So are we seeing anything different in this Wind Arcane Rai deck than the same deck that Hyoka brought in previous events?
So it's very subtle. The main change to the main board is he cut 1 Summon Gale for a Resolute Stand. So maybe putting a little bit more incentive on having that floodgate there. He also changed up his sideboard a bit, so he now has a Nullifying Mirror in it and some Scatter Essences, I think, to tech for Razor Gale specifically. So, like we've said, Razor Gale was one that people anticipated was going to be a problem, and so they came prepared for it.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So he got a top 100 in, which is really cool. He has a video on his own channel talking about his experience there. So if you're interested in learning more from the man himself, go take a video, take a look there. I know I will be, because I'm a huge fan of this deck and the work that this man is doing. So fantastic. In 31st place, we have Suima on Water CL. If you've seen Water Control CL, you've probably seen this one, except this one has some cows in it. Which is really kind of the main iteration that we've seen here on this deck. So a little bit of bovine to help your mill.
So this is probably not the first time this has happened.
Probably not.
But I do want to call this out as the first time I have noticed it.
Yeah.
This is a person running Sabrina.
Yes.
Without any Ascent top 8s to his name.
Oh, I see.
So it's maybe bought, maybe borrowed, who knows?
A grand fan we see.
Yeah. But this is definitely somebody who must love water.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, if you have the opportunity to run a prize spirit, or you know someone who is willing to lend you a prize spirit, I mean, go for it. Go for it. I mean, I think we had a tale of, I believe it was Main Deck Mitch. He basically was empowered by many top players. So I think he was running his Minth in addition to Main Deck Taylor, world champions. What is it?
Not the Apotheosis.
Not the Apotheosis, right? The Sacramental Right? Right? You have to correct me on this one. A world champion card. And so clearly rock him if you got him.
Heck yeah.
So very, very fun to see here. But yeah, Sail with Cows. It's good. We love it. In 27th place, we have Hachiko, the standout player from Ascent Kuala Lumpur, I believe, a very prominent Japanese player, and he's on his Fractal Diao-chan. There's not so much to really call out in terms of what's new with this list, but it is a very standout player who is having good results with this list, which hasn't changed too much, to be honest. It did gain a powerful defensive tool in the form of Thronekeeper Bullfrog. But otherwise, this is a good old-fashioned fractal list doing a good old-fashioned fractal things.
Mm-hmm. I do want to call out, we are seeing Escape the Wreckage escape its usual confines. Yes. One Escape the Wreckage has creeped into the Fractals deck.
This is kind of wild to me.
Yeah, this is really, really neat. It's apparently a good enough card that almost every deck needs to be running.
Yeah, I mean, this is a good way to go plus, and it also, considering you're running Zhangjiao, Frostborn Paladins, and Thronekeeper Bullfrogs, I think that's a good way to sort of reuse your card draw and also your protection and defense mitigation.
Yeah.
Which is really nice.
I think Fractals as a deck doesn't have a lot of allies in it. But the allies that it does have are so utility focused.
Very important.
It's almost closer to the kind of allies you find in a win deck.
Yeah.
Which is why a Reclaim equivalent is actually that good.
Yeah. A Reclaim that also pluses you is fantastically good. So that's really cool to see. In 26th place, we have Duo's KFC, the most successful KFC of this event. So notably, there are a lot of one-ofs in this deck, which is kind of wild to see.
It grates. I can't, I look at all these ones and I'm like, oh, why are you doing this?
I know. Listen, there's so many decks that I've wanted to try out and test, but for some reason I get scared when I see so many one-ofs, which is just like, what are the situations these are for? You
know what it says to me is that the deck is consistent enough and resilient enough that the one-ofs don't matter.
Yeah, it's true. The things that are at 2 to 4 copies are so potent and powerful in this deck. And if you see them, you are probably taking over the game with them. So clearly good work here. Even the one-ofs are still there. It's crazy.
The other thing is, most of the one-ofs are the things that you kind of expect to see in the deck.
Yeah.
So it's not weird extraneous one-ofs.
Yeah.
With the exception of a Coiled Fatestone.
Actually, okay. So there's a second Coiled Fatestone on the board. So maybe there's a situation where this is relevant and you actually want to deal with it. So.
Oh, every one-of has another one on the board.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe they're actually secretly 2-ofs. Which is a fascinating way to sideboard. I feel like at some point we need to just write a book on sideboarding strategies. Right? There's so many angles you can take.
Yeah, there's a lot of different approaches.
Yeah, there's comfort levels that I think you can just go along with. But anyway, in 24th place we have DDDH's Fire Lorraine, And this is not your typical Fire Lorraine. This is one that we occasionally see on the fringes. This is the Huaji variant. This is what we're running Huaji and Fang of Dragon's Breath to pump your spear up to astronomical levels and then swing it along with your Sunsa, who can swing it a second time, which means that you are potentially hitting for a whole lot. And then when you're done with it, you can rend somebody with it. It's great.
So despite Suzaku being the most popular aggro deck, this is actually the best performing aggro deck.
This had the best record of any aggro deck.
The top performing aggro deck in the entirety of Akihabara.
Yep. And I think this one has just a little bit more resilience. It's also notably running cats to sort of help itself out. A lot of good things in terms of the Arthur package, the with red hair, and also Xiao Chao, so some good unique ally stuff. It's running some Mortal Ambitions. So really, no matter what you try to do to this deck, it's going to hurt.
Yep. And it's doing it's doing the Lorraine things, right?
Yeah.
Like, a lot of the stuff that makes Lorraine Crux Knight so powerful are also present here.
Yeah. It even sort of has like a sort of a split damage focus here because you have things like Vermilion Decrees and Intensified Pyres and Blazing Throws, so sort of ways to sort of hit them on another angle. And
and just instead of going to Crux, you throw on a Hone by Fire and smack him in the face with the Rending Flames.
For big damage.
Yep.
Huge damage. So, really cool to see. In 15th place, we have Yamikin on his traditional Wind Wake Up list. If you've seen his Wind Wake Up list, you generally know what to expect. The Safeguard Paragons are still here as a way to hopefully protect his board. He's also running 2 Beseech the Winds here now as a way to sort of speed out some good regalia. Most likely a Ranger Stride, so he can sneak someone out and take him out.
So I did some direct comparisons here. Compared to Yamikin's deck at Auckland, he is -1 Safeguard Paragon. So 3 instead of 4.
Okay.
And +1 Aether's Embrace. 4 instead of 3. Also, the Tariff moved to the main instead of the sideboard.
Okay. So maybe the Safeguard is, not always required. But nice to see.
Yeah. I mean, he's still running it, so he must still believe in it.
Yeah, definitely.
It must have performed well enough for him to be like, okay, this card still needs to be in the deck. Maybe seeing how the metagame has sort of narrowed down a little bit, he's being like, okay, well, the decks that I'm playing against maybe don't run into this as much of a problem.
Yeah,
it's not like Fire Lorraine, Fire Crux Knight is going to be throwing around a lot of non-combat damage.
It feels like an adjustment for consistency, really.
Yeah.
Which is cool. So, awesome. In 13th place, we have Aqua on Serene Wind Astra Arasana. Not the only one who was running this deck. Also, shout outs to Limbo, who had a great presence on stream, but Aqua is the one who had the best record overall. And this is kind of your traditional Astralist. I love seeing Regenerate show up again.
Yeah.
Very, very powerful card. Only a 1-of here. But otherwise, he's running a few things for protection, like Resolute Stands. He's running Scout the Lands for a bit of consistency. Beseech the Winds for a little bit of extra speed and turbo, which is pretty nice. The Lunar Seers are nice here. So once he gets to level 3, he's got a little bit of ways to sort of push his strategy a little bit further.
I do like seeing, just in general, more of these advanced element allies.
Yeah.
Like, you have Ghosts of Pendragon in Crux, and most other advanced elements, you're usually using them for the incredibly powerful actions they provide. As opposed to, trying to cover the board with kind of more powerful allies.
Yeah. I feel like the advanced element allies are very, very rare in terms of the ones that actually get played. It's kind of interesting to see.
I mean, I guess Umbra also an exception, right? There's been a bunch of Carters.
Carters and Spirel, yeah. I mean, even Arcane has their own standout ally now in the form of Arcane Elemental, which is really interesting. So that's pretty cool.
But yeah, I like seeing decks that are willing to play an ally out to the field, even in that late stage of the game, and be like, okay, yes, this ally is important.
This is going to power me through to the end, which is fantastic. So very, very cool. So that's going to cover us for the majority of decks we thought were neat on day 2. Before we talk about the top 8, we did have some bubbles.
Yeah,
some bubble mages.
I think, as could be expected from a field this large, there are a lot of people with the same overall record, the same overall point total.
Yes.
So just by virtue of their tiebreakers not quite being good enough, even though their performance was top 8 level, we had down to 12th place, all on 33 points.
Yeah. So sadly, we couldn't fit them all in the top cut.
Right.
But
only 8 people can make it, but it was down to 12th place. So as a result of tiebreakers, Dragon JG, Chung, Alsunso, and Jaron didn't make it into our top cut.
Yeah.
But we can talk about their decks.
Yeah, let's talk about it. So Dragon JG, first off, in 12th place on a Water Fractal Arasana. Yeah, so Dragon JG running Polaris along with Arasana level 1 and 2. A lot of good uses there. Notably, you can fracturize your herbs for more fractal power, and Polaris gives you a nice board wipe.
That's true. It is one of those defensive tools that Fractals has actually been lacking when you run the Diagen version of it.
A lot of this otherwise is very classic Fractals. We don't even see the Bullfrogs in here.
Nope.
We do notably see some Nascent Blasts and some Fractals of Mana, and
Absolutely.
This is a reusable way to either burn face or burn an ally off the board.
It's fascinating that these are here because I would expect these to be here alongside some more powerful negates.
Yeah.
And this deck is not running any of those besides Glimmering Refusal.
Yeah, Glimmering Refusal, the obvious one.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot of manipulation there.
Right, yeah. This is the kind of thing that it's like, okay, I'm going to sit back on my open reserve, and if you don't do anything I need to interact with, I'll just blast you.
Yeah, pretty much.
But instead, we're seeing this as almost a more aggressive tool, just a way of dealing some damage while still keeping your influence up.
Yeah, and I really think you can also see it in the sideboard because the sideboard is just more gas. He's got 3 baubles in the sideboard, an ingredient pouch, and a sacred amulet for a little bit of defense. But otherwise, I think he's looking to just draw cards and go.
I think so. Yeah, the ingredient pouch stands out as really interesting to me. I think this is me guessing.
Yeah.
The reason the ingredient pouch is in there is, in some matchups, you might need a few more herbs for your Polaris.
I think so. Yeah.
So I think this is just like, okay, well, either you can buff up your Polaris with the ingredient pouch.
Yep.
Or this might be in there for the water mirror.
It's
true. He's just trying to draw extra cards off of Arasana too.
Yeah, and a lot of a handful of the material deck cards in his main board are kind of element specifics, so like Nullifying Lantern and Mirror. So I think if he identifies a matchup where those aren't really necessary, he can swap these out for a bauble and something else, for example, which I think is really nice. So
yeah, so a very neat take on the deck.
Yeah, fantastic. 11th place, we have Chung on his Fire Crux Lorraine. This is sort of a classic Crux Knight. Nothing too crazy here. Really nothing too crazy here.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of Crux Knights decks in this field that are within a couple of cards of each other.
Yeah.
And maybe it's the ratios change slightly, but it's, for the most part, all of the same cards.
Yeah, for the most part. Notably, he's not going too hard on the sort of level 3 stuff. He has his Ghost of Pendragon, but he's got 1 Evercurrent Raider and 3 Spirit Blade Ascensions that he can use to do Prismatic Edge related things. There's not a huge amount there. His sideboard's interesting because he's running Varuk Smoldering Spire, so they can't really prevent his damage. He's running Varukan Acolytes to kill those problematic Regalia. He's running Immolation Traps because obviously you need to kill the Shenju. And some Devastating Blows for a little bit of extra damage in addition to the Rending Flames.
So is this a typical Swords package? I see Sword of Seeking alongside Sword of Shadows.
That is a bit different, but you are running Crux Knight, so you probably just want to be packed to the brim with swords.
Yeah, and I wonder if he cut some other utility just to have 1 extra sword there. Because he's running 6 swords is kind of the usual sword.
Yeah. I mean, he's got, notably he has no Drawn Blade, which I think I found really interesting.
There we go. That's what I was missing. So yeah, Sword of Seeking or maybe a Sword of Shadows instead of the Drawn Blades.
Yeah.
So he's running 2 different distortions.
Yeah, which is interesting.
I think some people have also made that same decision, but I don't think any of them have dropped the Drawn Blade for it.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of unusual, but I mean, it did do well for him. He did get to 11th, which is
absolutely
pretty dang good.
Strong deck.
In 10th place, we have Alson So on Water Genbu, and this is a pretty classic Genbu. However, it is running in the main board 2 copies of Give Bath.
Gotta protect that Genbu.
Listen, if they're just trying to chip away at your Genbu and you're worried they're going to kill it, just give it a bath.
That is amazing, actually. That works against Immolation Trap?
It does.
That's wild.
It does.
That's really good.
It's kind of wild. He's got 2 in the main and 2 in the board, so clearly, this man could be running 4 copies of Give Bath at any given time. And it's floating memory for him because he is a tamer.
That's so good.
It's crazy.
I'm into it.
It's fantastic.
Do you think Seiryu players would run Give Bath if they could? Because I cannot tell you the number of Seiryus I saw take lethal damage across multiple attacks.
Oh, God, it's true. I mean, honestly, if I could cry for help, I would. That's a fantastic question. We'll have to try it. We'll test it a little bit. Imperial Seal with Give Bath.
Anyway, good job, Alonso.
Good job, Alonso. So the rest is just standard Genbu stuff. If you know what it's about. Ninth place, we have Jaren on another Fire Crux Lorraine. And in this list, we have a good old-fashioned Crux Knight doing Crux Knight stuff.
This might actually be card for card on
it's
on Sean's list.
It's not quite. There is a Varuk in the main.
Okay.
And the board is a little bit funky.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's only so many changes that people can make.
Yeah, you can
only
make so many changes to Fire Crux Lorraine. You see a lot of the classics here. One copy of Devastating Blow made it into the main board. Mm-hmm. One copy of Varuk made it into the main board. And then there's some other stuff like some Surreptitious Schemes and some Incapacitates in the sideboard, which are a little fun. Also, one Under Fire, just in case.
Sure.
Just in case.
It's legit.
Yeah. But we won't spend too much time really sitting on this one. Notably, though, I think he's got the same sword package as Chung.
Excellent.
So, hey, there's some merit here.
Yeah, really good performance for Jaren, actually.
Yeah.
Plus 160 elo.
Oh, that's
on
fantastic.
The day.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah.
Very good job. Fantastic. So that'll conclude our analysis of the bubble, as it were, which brings us to the top 8. And so we're not quite as diverse as we were in Niagara and Auckland, but we do effectively have 5, possibly even 6, depending on how you define it, different archetypes.
So the thing that I find interesting here is, aside from the overall element breakdown,
Yes.
what we have here is 2 fire decks,
Yes.
5 wind decks,
Yes.
and 1 water
And
deck.
one water deck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know what? So many people are bringing Merlin. So many people are bringing Lorraine. So many people are bringing these Fire Crux decks, and that's not what we're seeing dominate events.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously the most popular deck because it's been around for quite some time, but it's definitely not necessarily the winningest deck.
Yeah. I mean, it did win.
It did win.
This event.
Spoilers, but we're aggregate wise. Anyway,
a lot of wind up here is the point I'm trying to make.
it's very windy up on the mountain.
Also, I do want to say 2 Seiryu decks. 3
Three
Seiryu
decks.
So my deck choice from last podcast was correct.
We're not saying that you should pick up the phone, but this man definitely called it.
Anyway.
In 8th place, our good friend Sebastian on Serene Fire Umbra CL. I love seeing this deck in action. So we got a lot of fun things here. So this man is not only running Beguiling Coup, he is running the full Grim Pastiche Profane Bindings.
Oh, you'll love to see it.
And some Regal Inquisitions, and a few Heavy Swings for good measure. He's also got the SoCal special of 3 copies of Turbocharge. He's also running 4 Dungeon Guides and 2 Heavenly Guides. So clearly he's expecting to run to some other folks who are just as passionate about Dungeon Guides as he is. So this is a 10-guide deck.
Wow.
That's wild. He's also running 2 copies of Peaceful Reunion. So definitely prepared to play a more controlling strategy if he needs to. So it's
interesting. Cool. Peaceful Reunion here. I would almost expect to see Vanish from sight instead.
Perhaps.
Peaceful Reunion does work against Sword of Seeking.
Yeah, it does. It does. And I definitely think a lot of people are going to be running that. So you have to kind of be prepared. So really, really fun list, I think.
Yeah.
If you wanted a more controlling take on Guardian, I think this is a really good one.
Yep.
I know this has sort of been Sebastian's deck of choice for a while, so I'm glad to see that it's been working well for him, and I was glad to see he was able to top 8 one of the biggest events of all time. So
I really do like seeing this kind of top end in the CL decks.
Yeah, the sideboard is also a lot of fun, too, because you've got Nocturne's Oblivion. If you need to delete something, you've got Spirel for a little bit more damage. Consumption Ring is a fun one if you're trying to stop like an action-heavy deck from killing you. Some Blanches, some Nascent Blasts. Just all around good stuff. So very cool. Very cool. So congrats, Sebastian. In 7th place, again, this was not on my bingo board, but we have Nathan on Win Number Diana.
Yeah, so this is one of those 4 decks that made it to day 2.
Yep.
Out of the 5 decks in the field.
Yep.
So this deck very, very much performed, I think, in a way that I certainly wouldn't have expected going into the event.
Yeah.
But it does seem like maybe the people who ran it kind of expected this.
I mean, kind of in a way that Hyoka has talked about how the field is favorable for Rai because there are so many decks on level 3. I think this is sort of an even more direct way of making that point because you can just taser lock all the level 3 decks and make their lives a living hell.
Yeah. This deck actually seems poised to take over the slot that Horse and Taxes was in.
It kind of does.
Now that Horse and Taxes doesn't have the Ryle to kind of power it forward, so it's not quite as consistent.
It has sort of a similar play pattern, right? Like, okay, so there's a way where you can kind of play more card neutral because it has sort of the allies package of like Windmill Engineers with your reclaims, the Ace and Protectors and stuff like that. You have like focusing rounds to draw you cards, and you can flicker them with your baby greens. But really, the point of this deck is you have 4 dungeon guides. You level the 1, you have your 4 dungeon guides, you use that to level the 2, and then you displace your dungeon guide and you go straight to level 3. And this deck notably is also running 2 copies of Sylph's Envelopment, which is your 5th and 6th displace.
Very cool.
So you are very much able to turbo very, very hard. And once you're up there, you've got Umbral Tithe. Just so much Umbral Tithe. It's nuts. So also 3 Regal Inquisitions. Pretty good too. This is sort of a way where you can get the interaction out of their hand so that you can make sure that the coast is clear for you to pull out your Shadow's Twin and just rip into them really, really hard.
Superb. Yeah, but the real story is the Taser Lock.
The Taser Lock. Oh, yeah. No. If you've never been double Taser Locked, I pray that you never have to experience that torture because, boy, taking 80s level is pretty rough.
Very cool. Deck.
The board is also pretty cool because there's some very specific treats here. 4 Scatter Essence, obviously, because, Fractals and Razorgale are a huge threat. 3 Extortion Schemes because you can suppress as a skill, which notably it's much more difficult for a Shenju to stop that. And 2 copies of Rapid Reload. This is a great thing if something happens to your bullet. Or one of your other guns, because you're going to be at level 3 and this is a 3-cost skill. You can just play this and then get another bullet out. I believe we saw this used on stream, and it very much took us by surprise.
It won the game.
It
was if that Rapid Reload hadn't been in his hand, that game would have been over.
Yeah, it would have been done.
Instead, it was over the other way.
Yep. So it works out. So and of course he has a Viridian Trinket because water will ruin your day.
True.
So you need a little bit of extra insurance there in addition to the Regal Inquisitions. So this was a pretty sweet meta call, and obviously he and his team were prepared, and they got quite far with it.
Yeah, really good performance.
Yeah. So congrats to Nathan. I think you've inspired a lot of true believers to really pick up the mantle again. So that'll be really cool to see. By which I mean it'll be really terrifying to see because all I want to play is level 3 decks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why did you do this, Nathan? Why? I'm kidding. We love this deck. In 6th place we have Hoi on Wind Seryu Goja. There's not a lot to say about this. If you've seen one Goja deck, you've seen many Goja decks. This one in particular is still very turbo-focused. It is running 4 copies of Byako's Command, Seryu's Command, and Harness Lightning, and it has the usual allies package to sort of back it up. It is also running 2 copies of Winds of Destiny, so if you get the super nutty high roll turbo, you can do that, and it's very, very powerful. And
very cool. It's got the Grows Wards in there, so
the Grows Wards are there.
The ally strategy is in full force.
You've got it. You've got the Dream Fairies. You have 1 of Tempest Downfall, just to give a little extra smack. And you clear something on the board or have a little extra reach. Pretty good. 2 more on the board too.
Trained Hawks on the board also.
The Hawks in the board, which is interesting.
That.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Obviously this is a very good card. Very good against cats. 4 Staggering Strikes because Tristan is your biggest nightmare. 2 Sunblessed Gazelles. We don't always see these.
No, this is the kind of card that if your opponent is in a position to kill Seryu, you're going to need something else to defend your board.
Yeah.
And it definitely does the job.
This feels like a really good one against the Crux players because normally they're going to draw so many cards. So good luck getting rid of this guy.
Yeah, if your Gazelle has more health than your Seryu, that's always impressive.
That's a nice thing. So Hoi, congratulations, did a great performance there. In 5th place. I was hoping that we'd see 1 Diana deck in locals in top 8, but I did not expect that we'd see 2 Dianas in top 8. And Zur is the man to make that dream a reality with his Water Carp Song Diana. And
and if you're comparing Diana decks, this is wildly different from the other Diana deck that we saw.
Oh yeah. This is all about getting your Toad Troll into the yard and being able to turn on Carp Song Coda to blast your opponent for 6 per card, which is quite a lot of damage.
Yeah, some really powerful graveyard focus. Not only the Carp Song Coda and the Toad Troll, but also Weaving Mana Stream, which is a staple for this kind of Ether Ring Diana.
A very big classic. Seeing more of the focus on the Looking Glass here, so we can run Cheshire Cats, which obviously is very, very good in conjunction with the Inert Sword. Balbo Scarcity is really nice to get those floating memory ether charges into the yard. And then just having full control of your graveyard. Also, you can get a Toad Troll into the yard with this.
A Consumption Ring just to be able to force stuff through.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very cool.
Mana's Cascade also to sort of like mess with their hand a little bit if you really want to.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of really good stuff here. So I gotta hand it to Zur. This deck has come along really, really well, and clearly he piloted it to victory, which is great.
So do we think we figured out this deck's final form?
It's hard to say because I have seen a number of people sort of tweak the ratios a lot with this deck and include a lot of sort of fringe one-ofs. This is a deck that has a lot of glimpse potential, similar to the Wind Luxem Assassin decks. So I feel like there are a lot of specialized inclusions in some of these lists.
Yeah, I think this deck was maybe unfairly poo-pooed a little bit by a lot of people.
I think there are still people who are just like, we don't understand why this deck keeps making it. But it still keeps making it.
Yeah.
Right? So they're clearly doing something right.
Yeah. And I want to call out the evolution here, right?
Yeah.
Because I think this deck always had a lot of potential, but it was just really, really hard to get the build right.
Yeah.
And now I think we're moving in the direction that kind of shows off how powerful this deck can be.
Yeah. It's also tough because I think it's like a very open-ended combo deck, and sometimes it's very difficult to see the lines in there. And now we're seeing people who are being very consistent with it and actually really being able to nail it.
Yeah, so a high skill ceiling on this deck for sure.
Yeah, so very cool. So shout outs to Zur for being the best performing pilot of this deck for Aki. I think clearly you're showing people the power of this deck, and it's definitely the standout water deck of the season.
Absolutely.
Which warms my heart. In fourth place, we have Ali on Fire Vow Crux Lorraine. This is not a new deck that we've seen, but
not at all.
The pilot of this deck is in fact important because Ali is the one who created this deck.
Nice.
Yes. So
I think he talked about it in
he talked about it a bit. You should definitely check out his interview on stream because I think he does it far more justice than we ever could. But he's got a lot of possible lines to victory here. He's running, a Sword Science Vow, which he can boost with Honed by Fire. He can even boost with Tempered Steel in a pinch. And then he can Rending Flames for big damage. Or just turn all those counters into a Dispersion. It's pretty nice. Yeah,
Dispersion is one of those cards that I think is easy to kind of dismiss until you see it in action.
Yeah. It's kind of innocuous. You can do everything right and think you have sort of a safety net of damage, and then suddenly they can just sort of sneak the Dispersion in there for free, and then suddenly you're just dead.
I was pretty impressed to see kind of, all of those swords just staying out on the field.
Yeah.
And him building up kind of this wide board of swords and then dispersioning for like 8 damage.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, I didn't actually expect this card to be quite as powerful as it looks like it is.
Yeah. So clearly, Ali has piloted this list. He's been tweaking this list. He's done a really good job with it. I would highly recommend, if you haven't already, watch his quarterfinals match. Into Serie, because that is some of the most hype gaming that we have seen.
Very cool.
It was insane, absolutely insane. So huge congrats to Ali. Really cool to see your hard work pay off. In third place, we have Gaming Xiaopao. I apologize if I butchered that. On another Win Serie Guoja. Notably here, we are still seeing a mostly turbo variant. We have 4 of each command. We have 3 Harness Lightnings. A few ratios have been tweaked because we have 2 Gazelles in the main already.
This one actually has the Trained Hawks in the main as well.
Yeah, it has the Trained Hawks in the main as well, so some definitely changes there. The very noteworthy thing is we have a Candlelight Hourglass in the Material deck. This is a fun one.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It kind of feels like this deck is pre-boarded in a way for Fire Crux.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Absolutely.
What with the Trained Hawks and the Gazelles in the main. So it's I think it's a lot of similar cards to all of the other decks.
Yeah.
But the focus is a little bit shifted.
Definitely. So very cool to see that. In terms of the sideboard, we have an Nullifying Lantern, some Blanches, some Crystallized Destinies, Scatter Essences, of course. I don't see any staggering strikes in this list at all.
No, doesn't seem like he was that concerned about Tristan.
Yeah.
I suppose rightly there just wasn't that much Tristan.
Yeah, surprisingly there wasn't a lot of Tristan sort of hovering around the top tables.
Yeah.
Which is a little surprising to me because I feel like Tristan has done very, very well. Big shout out to Asuna for just really dominating with that deck up until this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems like it was a good decision since the best performing Shadow Strike was down in 28th.
Yeah, possibly a meta call. Mm-hmm. So he just went for it and it worked out. Congrats to him for making that work. That's really cool. In second place, we have Pulse, another standout Seiryu player.
And this is closer to almost a mix between the two decks in terms of its approach.
Yeah, this one's all in on the commands. There's really no Gazelle at all on this list. Mm-hmm. Yeah, noteworthy is this is the first time we're seeing Veiling Breeze in a Seiryu list in the top 8. And it's only in the sideboard. So I think this was, I guess defense wasn't particularly valued in this case. His defense comes in the form of 2 annul spells.
Ooh.
Which is kind of interesting. So otherwise, a very similar material deck to Gaming Xiaopao. 3 displaces. You love seeing displace in this list. Oh, Innervate Agility. Obviously, that's a very good defense. Mm-hmm. A very good defensive tool here. This is kind of more gas.
Yeah.
It's just a whole lot of gas. Honestly.
Yeah, I kind of do like that aggressive focus. You know, this is a deck that knows what it is trying to do.
Yeah.
And is just trying to do that one thing.
It is just going to pull out a dragon and kill you.
Yeah, I love that.
There is no other option. So that is fantastic to see. And yeah, his sideboard is honestly pretty no-nonsense. I mean, Nullifying Lantern and Safeguard Amulet are in there. 3 Regals. So if you run into the Tristan, whatever. Get the fumes out of their hand. 4 Scatter Essence and 2 Veiling Breeze. So pretty simple. Pretty good. So
yeah, right on.
Yeah, congrats, Pulse. And in first place, we have Raylum on Firecrux Lorraine. Raylum's been around for a while. I know he was, I want to say, 3rd place at the first Ascent Taipei. So he's been going strong since the since the MRC days. It's interesting, actually, before we talk about that, the sword lineup is the same. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah, the Sword of Seeking and then also the 2 Distortion Swords.
Yep. Then your Clarence and your Prismatic Edge, and I was like, okay. Surprising, but it works out. Other than that, we have 2 Incapacitates in the main.
Which is wild.
Which is pretty wild. You're definitely going to have the influence to be able to play that. Mm-hmm. Some Escape the Wreckages, which is pretty cool there. Lowered the count of Cheshire Cats, I think, as a result. And he's also running 3 Devastating Blows and 1 Rending Flames to complement. Definitely less of a fire focus here, so that kind of makes sense, right?
Right.
So just favoring just hitting for big, consistent damage. And then only 3 copies of Spirit Blade Ascension and no water or wind cards. Mm-hmm. If he gets them, it's basically on the basis of his opponent having them.
Which is entirely fair.
Which totally makes sense. In the board, we have some Crystallized Destinies, 2 Heavenly Guides, because we have a lot of level 3 decks in this format.
It's true, there's a lot of Crux out there.
It's working out. 2 Regal Inquisitions, an extra Flame Sweep to complement the 3 in the main, 4 Immolation Traps, because those Shenju need to die.
Yeah, Seiryu a problem.
It's a real problem. It's not going to get any less popular, I'm sure. 2 Smokeouts and 2 Varuk Smoldering Spires to push that damage through. An all-in-all solid list. Mm-hmm. And Raylum is a very good player, so he did quite well with it.
Yeah, I actually... Raylum ended this event at 1728 ELO.
Oh my goodness.
What a monster.
That is a machine.
Yeah, obviously an incredible performance during this event.
Yeah.
But the fact that his ELO was that high to begin with.
Oh, yeah.
Just really good
he is
player.
a consistently strong player. Like, even since, multiple seasons ago, he's been going strong. So.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
I'd love to see him getting these kinds of results.
Yeah, so absolutely deserved victory by Raylum. So big congratulations. And that will cover all of the top 8 for Ascent Akihabara.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the end of the season.
Yeah.
Hell of a season it was.
Absolutely. So while the next big event is still a ways out.
Yep.
And is on the other side of the PTM dividing line.
Yep.
So we're going to have a wildly different meta going into whatever that event is.
Absolutely we will.
We are still going to be building off of what we know now. Mm-hmm. So what is our takeaway from this event?
Boy, it's a wide open field out there. But there are a lot of level 3s.
Yeah. I was going to say, for as much as it is a wide open field, the top end has kind of narrowed down,
It
right?
has.
So we're seeing a lot of the fire decks in Crux.
Yep.
And very few fire decks elsewhere.
Yep.
A decent amount of like Fire Umbra Guardian kind of making itself known.
Yep.
We're seeing a bigger spread in wind. So a
Yeah.
lot more wind decks that seem viable. And a little bit of a water comeback now as we kind of near the end of this meta.
Yeah. I think if you're going to be testing decks, the big ones you probably want to test into are your Crux decks.
Absolutely.
And your Seiryu decks. I would honestly put a little bit more focus on the latter because we are getting Purifying Thurible back. And I do recall in the time that we had that card in the DTR season, it was a menace.
It was
and
real powerful.
We had many wind decks on just crushing on the back of that card.
Yeah, just an easy way to kind of clear out all of the value that those fire decks are getting from discarding their floating memory.
Yeah. So I think that's something you have to be cognizant of. Obviously, there are many fun graveyard decks out there that I'm sure you could have a ton of fun with. But you better make sure that they can hold up if their entire graveyard gets blown away.
Absolutely, yeah. That Thurible is a menace.
That Thurible is terrifying. So be prepared for that. Decide who you want to be. Do you want to be sort of the strict opposition to the graveyard, to the graveyard police, or do you want to be the graveyard police?
Yep, I think that is definitely something that people are going to have to be paying attention going forward.
Yep.
I think there is absolutely room to just keep playing the decks that are good.
Absolutely. Like, I think there are some really cool ideas in PTM. I highly encourage people to cook and see what those can do. I'm looking forward to seeing what those archetypes really can do when they come to fruition. But I think the old decks that have existed up until this point are going to be still good.
Yeah, and I think I agree with you. The most important thing is going to be what you are playing against.
Yes.
And I think keeping in mind kind of what is powerful here is going to be a really, really big deal when you're testing for whatever comes next.
Yeah, absolutely.
Make sure that you have a game plan for Crux. Make sure that you have a game plan for Seiryu.
Yeah.
And maybe think about how your aggro matchup looks like because, going into a new meta, aggro is always the thing to do.
It's
the thing
always
to beat.
popular. And I know there are going to be some spicy fire graveyard decks that are going to want to do some nasty things out there with that new Alice, I'm sure.
Yeah,
So,
like I definitely don't have an idea of what decks are going to look like on day one, or on day 15 for that matter.
Yeah.
But you definitely want to either be aggro or be prepared for aggro.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, we'd say be prepared with a good Crux deck, be prepared against Crux, be prepared against Seiryu, be prepared against a good aggro deck. Find a good aggro deck that you're comfortable testing into.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
Deal with that. So that'll hopefully educate you guys on where to go from there.
Yeah.
I'm sure that we're going to be learning a lot in the first couple weeks as we tackle whatever the heck our locals turns into as a result of all these new cards.
True.
I am looking forward to trying a few Diana builds, both old and new. I think the Wind Duststalker one would be pretty interesting to try. I think the new Water Etherwing stuff will be interesting to mess around with. I'm sure people are going to be doing Cursebreaker things. There's a lot of incidental Cursebreaker support and a lot of intentional Cursebreaker support.
Yeah.
So I'll be curious to see what people cook with that.
God, Foam is going to be so happy.
Oh, he will be so happy. I'm so excited for him. I want to see what that man cooks. I don't know. Honestly, if I had to sort of go into this meta really just unsure of what was going to happen, I'd probably play Seiryu. I would love to play Rai, but I don't know. There could be some spooky aggro deck out there.
That just shows a lack of conviction, my friend.
You're right. I should face these problems head on.
Exactly.
Face my fears with an arcane blast in hand, as the good Lord Hyoka intended.
I honestly, I fully support you just sticking your head in the sand and playing Fortuitous Rai.
Look, as long as I don't have it, I'm good. As long as I don't have it on turn 2, I'm fine.
Yeah, let's just hope they don't have it.
They don't have it. 40% of the time, it works every time.
Yeah, I think I've made my opinions known already, so I'm not going to belabor the point here. But there's some really cool stuff to build.
There's a lot of good stuff, for sure, and I'm excited to see what everybody cooks. So if there's something you guys are excited about brewing and you think needs some extra attention, let us know in the comments.
Yeah,
It'd be
absolutely.
pretty exciting. But that'll probably take us to... well, I guess we're already deep in the end phase at this point. Slowly careening towards the end of this episode. So, yeah...
I think the only thing I have left to say is I have been very happy with the DTR meta.
I as well. I fully agree.
Yeah, so I think Akihabara as a huge event, as kind of a celebration of Grand Archive, is maybe the perfect send-off for what I would actually consider the best meta we have had so far.
In terms of like the competitive diversity on display here, I think it has been a fantastic season. I really hope that PTM will continue to carry that momentum forward and just give us a wide variety of stuff and sort of some new things to sort of slot into that wide variety of diversity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Decks. So that'll be really, really cool. I think that will do it for us on this episode. So we will be taking some time to cook the new PTM stuff.
Yep.
Seeing if we can come up with anything new. And I believe the next big event that we're going to be covering in detail is going to be Ascent Manila at the start of January.
Yeah, so it might be a while between episodes. We'll see if we can come up with a reason to maybe make an episode in between.
We did have a big draft event recently, so it may be time to revisit the AMB draft primer and maybe talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun.
Things that we've learned. I will definitely say that I've pointed some local friends to our existing draft primers for the sake of shameless self-promotion, and they seem to have gotten some stuff out of it. So
good.
We were at least partially right on some things.
Yeah,
so that's pretty great. Perhaps look forward to that. But in any case, thank you, as always, for listening to the Corhazi Outlook, and please look forward to my next episode. Maybe we'll talk about draft, or maybe we'll just cook until Manila is here.
You just let it simmer for a bit.
Yeah, let the pot simmer. Let the deck building juices really like get sealed in there. You should not let your cards get moist. By the way,
no.
Really
you don't think you'd want to marinate Phantom Menace?
I think that hurts the value going forward.
Also, I don't think Spectre tastes very good.
No. It's kind of dry, honestly.
Yeah,
it's like you really haven't eaten anything at all. Really,
it just kind of fades away in your mouth.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Until then, take care.
Take care.